If you've ever noticed that your coffee is starting to taste a little funky, it might be time to clean and descale the machine. So let me show you the best way to get that done. So before you start cleaning, the first thing you want to do is just empty out the carafe with any old coffee and make sure to get rid of any of the grounds that are in the machine. I like to start by running a full descaling cycle through the machine. Now this is so important because this is going to get rid of the hard water buildup or lime scale that can be in the internal components, and that usually is kind of what's causing that funky taste that you get from time to time. But this also helps the machine run better and last longer too. For descaling solution, the two that I like to recommend are either white vinegar or this one here from Barkeeper's Friend. It's just their coffee maker descaler. Now both of these do a great job in my experience. I will say vinegar obviously is gonna have that wonderful vinegar funky smell, and when you put that into the coffee maker, that can kind of be a little pungent throughout the house. So if you really don't like that, I would probably go with the Barkeeper's Friend descaler. To mix up the descaler, if you're going to use the white vinegar, you fill up the fresh water reservoir with 50% vinegar and the rest with cold water. Now in today's video, I'm just gonna use the Barkeeper's Friend, and this mix is 8:1. So for this tank here, I'm gonna add about 8 ounces of cleaner and then fill the rest up with cold water. Now many new machines will actually have a clean button and a clean function, and this is really nice because it's just easy to use. You pretty much set it and forget it, and the machine just does its thing. Now if you don't have that, that is okay. What I suggest to do is set your coffee maker to the largest pot that you can make, turn it on and let it run till the fresh water reservoir gets down to about halfway, and then turn the machine off. What we're gonna do here is let the cleaner sit inside for about 15 to 20 minutes. Once that's done, then we turn it back on and run the rest of the solution through the machine. So now that the descaling cycle is done, you can tell here we pulled out a ton of stuff from the inside of this machine, which is great. So what I like to do next is I'm gonna empty the carafe out here, and then I'm gonna fill up the fresh water tank all the way with just water only, and just run a full cycle through the machine with just the water. What this is gonna do is just rinse it out really well, making sure that there's no cleaner left behind. After the rinse cycle, if you notice that your water is kind of a little cloudy or yellow, maybe even there's stuff floating around in there, that's okay. What I suggest to do is just run another rinse cycle through the machine. That way everything is completely flushed out. So now that the inside is nice and clean and we got rid of all the hard water buildup, what I like to do is just disassemble the machine, take everything apart. Now, your coffee maker at home might be a little bit different. Obviously, they all kind of have different parts and components, but there's actually quite a few pieces on this one here that come off. We're gonna take all this over to the sink and let it soak in just a little bit of dish soap. So while I wait for that stuff to soak in the sink, I'm just gonna grab my DIY vinegar mix. This is 1 cup white vinegar, 1 cup water, and about a teaspoon of Dawn dish soap. Also, a word of caution and safety: before you spray anything down, always unplug your machine. I almost forgot to do that. I'm just gonna clean all kind of the nooks and crannies and all the areas I can't take out and soak in the sink. Usually kind of at the top here where you put the grounds in. Those kind of will get all over the place and get a little crusty over time. The other area I like to pay special attention to is the heating pad down here. Usually coffee will kind of get spilt there, and it dries, gets crusty, and kind of gets sticky and just attracts dirt and grime. So I'm just gonna come through, spray that down. I'll even use a scrub mommy to kind of scrub some areas as needed. Now usually anytime I'm cleaning any of the internal components here that comes in contact with the coffee that you make, I will just grab a damp microfiber towel just to rinse the surfaces really good. That way there's no vinegar left behind, and we do not taste that once we're done. Once this is done, we'll head back to the sink and get those scrubbed up and nice and clean too. Now, once you're done cleaning all of the components that are removable, I just like to let them dry completely, then put everything back together on the machine. And there you have it. Now you know the best way to get your coffee maker nice and clean. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I want to give a huge shout out to the Clean Squad members over on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you want to learn more about that, check the link down in the description below, and we'll see ya on the next clean.